For centuries, humans have been growing alongside our botanical brethren. Our histories have mixed and mingled to bring us modern medical marvels, faded folklore, and everything in between. Of course, in order to understand the plant, we have to start with its roots. I'm M. Grebner Gaddis, and this is Rooted. Hello, and welcome back to another week of Rooted. This week we're wrapping up our potion mini-series with Tooth of Wolf, also known as Wolfsbane. Now, Wolfsbane is also famously known as monk's hood due to its extremely distinct bloom that almost looks like a hooded figure. It's a member of the Ranunculaceae, or buttercup family, just like Toa Frog from our earlier episode in this series. Its botanical name is Aconitum, and it's native across the northern hemisphere. While there are several varieties, they are all very similar in terms of chemical composition and history, so we'll just be generally referring to all of them today. They like to grow in moist but well-draining soil in mountainy meadows, and they aren't honestly too picky about soil nutrition or sunlight. They're best known for their stunning flowers that can be purple, pink, yellow, or white. They're zygomorphic, which means their flowers are bilaterally symmetrical. So if you were to split them in half, both parts would be exactly the same. Their blooms tend to have 5 petals, but could have between 2 and 10, with one of those petals always being a large and prominent galea, or cylindrical hood that covers the top of the petal, hence its name monk's hood or devil's helmet. They have dark green, multiple-lobed leaves, and tall, slender stems that hold up their iconic blooms. In Greek mythology, the story goes that Wolfsbane sprouted from the saliva of Cerberus, Hades' 3-headed dog that guarded the gates of hell. And while it's hard to say what caused the close tie to wolves, or if it started because of this rumor, one thing is for sure. These two are forever linked. Ancient Greeks used to lace meat with poison extracted from the root of wolfsbane in order to poison wolves that were getting a little too close to livestock and causing problems for farmers. When lycanthropy started taking Europe by storm, people turned to wolfsbane for protection and to prevent their loved ones from turning. Folks would plant wolfsbane in their garden, hoping to keep werewolves at bay, and it was even said that mixing it into a tea or soup could help heal those suffering from lycanthropy. A very real phenomenon where people, typically those who had been isolated due to weather or remote living, genuinely began to believe they were turning into wild animals, especially around the full moon. And while lycanthropy is less commonly reported now, back in the 1500s doctors were eager to find a cure. Knowing the Greeks tended to know a thing or two about herbal medicine and mythical creatures, they decided to turn to the history books for help, stumbling upon wolfsbane. And while they tried their best to give appropriate doses, the vast majority of patients died, as wolfsbane is an extremely potent poison. Scarily enough, the symptoms of wolfsbane poisoning are actually said to look extremely similar to that of rabies, with those who have ingested it foaming at the mouth, seemingly losing a good deal of their motor function, and eventually slipping into a coma before dying. This reaction also created the myth that wolfsbane could turn you into a werewolf if you were to touch it during a full moon, only furthering the connection between wolves and the plant, presumably confusing lycanthropy sufferers everywhere. But what exactly makes wolfsbane so toxic? That would be the work of aconitine, an alkaloid that opens up sodium channels, causing an influx of sodium into the bloodstream and preventing repolarization. In humans, this leads to increased excitability and heart rate, the numbing of the face, and lowered blood pressure, slowing and eventually stopping the heart. And it wasn't just used against werewolves. It's also been employed as a poison against pesky predators and prisoners alike. When it came to hunting, several cultures across the northern hemisphere would dip darts and arrow tips into aconitine from the root, causing the animal being hunted to lose control much faster and therefore being easier to catch. As far as prisoners are concerned, it was really just a very horrific form of torture, but it did also kind of lead to an antidote to other poisons when one old-timey doctor decided to test it out on all of the prisoners. He essentially decided that the best thing to do would be to give everyone the poison and only one guy the antidote. And, well, they all died except for that one guy, unfortunately. Aside from poison, pollinators really seem to love the stuff, with certain caterpillars choosing to feed almost exclusively on this stuff, really spitting in the face of all of us who can't even touch Wolfsbane without drooling involuntarily. Next time you see a mysterious hooded flower in the woods, be sure to say hello, but definitely don't give it a kiss on the head, as it will lead to some very troubling times and a less than stellar walk in the park. That's all I've got for this week, but I'll be back next week with another new plant for us all to ogle over. See you then! If you like the show, please consider subscribing and leaving us a review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere else you listen. You can follow us on Facebook and Instagram at rooted.pod, we're on YouTube at rooted.podcast, and you can check out our website, rootedpod.com, for transcripts, updates, and so much more. Special thanks to Eric Cluxon for writing and performing our theme music, and of course, a special thank you to all of you for being here. Until next time, be kind to yourselves, be kind to the earth, and just like a plant, drink your water.